Okay, let's be honest. For so many of us, superannuation, or super, right? It's that pile of mail we just shove in a drawer and promise we'll look at later. It feels big, it feels complicated, maybe even a little bit scary. But what if I told you that getting a handle on it is way, way simpler than you think, and that understanding it could be one of the single best things you ever do for your financial future? Well, that's what we're going to do today. Let's break it down. So, I want to kick things off with a really direct question. Who is actually going to pay for your retirement? It's so easy to think of this as some distant problem for future you, but the reality is, the world our parents and grandparents retired in, that's not the world we're heading into. Not even close. Financial expert Noel Whittaker, he doesn't pull any punches with this quote. He basically says, if you don't sort this out for yourself, you could be in for a very Spartan existence. And I don't know about you, but a Spartan retirement isn't exactly what I'm aiming for. The message is clear. The responsibility is shifting, and it's landing right on our shoulders. Okay, so why the sudden urgency? Why is this such a big deal right now? Let's do a quick retirement reality check, because a few key things have changed that make this more critical than ever before. Just think about this for a second. For our grandparents' generation, retirement might have just been a few short years, kind of a brief epilogue to their working life. But for us, we could easily be looking at a 30, maybe even a 35-year journey in retirement. That is a huge amount of time that needs to be paid for. We're not talking about a short holiday anymore. This is a whole second act of life. Now, if you're sitting there feeling a little bit overwhelmed by all this, trust me, you are not alone. Whittaker talks about how in his seminars he'll ask, who's confused about super? And he's met with what he calls a sea of hands. It's basically the default feeling for most people. But today, we're going to change that. You know, the key to getting over that confusion is to just completely reframe how we think about super. So let's start by demystifying it with one really simple idea. It's just a box. That's it. At its very core, this is all super is. It's not some crazy complex investment on its own. It's just a special structure, a vehicle, if you will, that's designed for one purpose: to hold your retirement money in a place that gets a fantastic deal on tax. Right. Think of it this way. Your super is a money box. You put things in the box, like shares or property. Now, if the investments inside that box go down because the market has a bad day, it's not the box's fault, is it? The box is just the container. And in this case, it happens to be an incredibly effective, super tax-friendly container. So you're probably thinking, well, if it's so simple, why does it have this reputation for being so complicated? And that's a fair question. The short answer is that for decades, governments were constantly changing the rules. But here's the most important takeaway from this timeline, that last point. Since 2006, the system has actually become much, much simpler, especially for anyone over 60. A lot of that complexity is literally in the past. Okay, so we've established it's a tax-friendly box, but just how friendly are we talking? Let's get into the engine room of super and look at the real magic, the power of using pre-tax money. This is where it gets really exciting. Okay, imagine you get a $10,000 bonus at work. Awesome. Now, if you take that money in your regular paycheck, you're going to lose a big chunk of it to tax, right? Maybe around 39%. Leaving you with just $6,100 to actually invest. But if you salary sacrifice it straight into your super fund, it's only taxed at 15% on the way in. All of a sudden, you've got $8,500 invested in working for you. That's nearly 40% more money from day one, just because you chose a smarter box to put it in. And the benefits don't stop when the money gets in there. Oh no, once it's inside what Whittaker calls this money paradise, your investments get to grow in a special low-tax world. Any income is taxed at just 15% and capital gains at only 10%. Just try to compare that to the much higher rates you'd pay on any investments you have outside of super. It's a no-brainer. So, we know super is a super tax-efficient vehicle. We get it. But how much of a difference can paying attention to what's actually inside that vehicle really make? Well, the answer, it might actually shock you. $1.32 million. Just look at that number. What is that? It's not a lottery win. It is the potential cost of not making one tiny, simple choice about your super early in your career. This slide tells an absolutely incredible story. Imagine this. You and a friend both start working at age 25. You both get the same super contributions your whole career. The only difference? Your friend leaves their money in the default capital stable fund. Think of this as a super cautious driver. It's designed to protect money first, grow it second. It's often the default because it's safe for someone close to retiring. But you, with decades to go, you take literally 5 minutes to switch your investment option to high growth. Think of this as the race car driver. It takes more calculated risks, sure, but for much, much higher potential returns over the long haul. Now let this sink in. By the time you both turn 65, that one single choice could be the difference between your friend having $880,000 and you having $2.2 million. That's a $1.32 million difference, all from one 5-minute choice. So what can you do about this right now, like today? It is so, so simple. You do not need to be a financial genius. Just take these 3 tiny steps. First, go find your latest super statement. I bet it's sitting in your email inbox right now. Second, scan through it and look for the line that says investment option. And third, just ask yourself one simple question. If my retirement is still decades away, is this really the best choice for me? Look, at the end of the day, for most of us, our super is going to be one of the biggest assets we ever own, maybe even bigger than our own home. This isn't just some boring account that your boss pays into. It's your future. It's the difference between that Spartan existence and the retirement that you've actually worked your whole life for. So isn't it time you took 5 minutes to make it work for you?